Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here for the speaker series at West 2025. It is my distinct pleasure and honor to introduce our speaker this morning, Captain Erin Shashini. She is a native of York, Pennsylvania, and she graduated from Pennsylvania State University with a Bachelor of Science in Meteorology. She commissioned through the Naval ROTC program at Penn State, and she holds master's degrees in meteorology and physical oceanography from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California, and in national security and strategic studies from the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. Upon commissioning, she initially served as a surface warfare officer and transferred to the Naval Oceanography Community in 2005. At sea, Captain Shashini has served aboard the amphibious dock landing ship USS Carter Hall and aboard the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt. In addition, she's held a number of leadership positions ashore, including the Science and Technology Branch Head to the Oceanographer of the Navy, N2 and 6E. Captain Shashini previously commanded the Naval Oceanography Anti-Submarine Warfare Center in Yokosuka, Japan, prior to taking command at the Fleet Weather Center in San Diego. Everyone, please welcome Captain Erin Shashini. Thank you.
All right. It's a very small podium up here, and I want to make sure I don't do that. All right, Billy, come help me out here. All right. Well, good morning. It's my pleasure to be here. Unfortunately, while Admiral Perrett was not able to attend this year's conference, he's designated me as his representative to give you guys an overview of Naval Meteorology and Oceanography, also known as SINMOC, for this year's West 2025 conference. I'm honored to be representing him and Naval Meteorology and Oceanography in this capacity. I'd also like to thank FCA for hosting this event, all of the corporate sponsors, and Mr. Joe Gradisher for all of his immense efforts in coordinating this speaker series today. All right, let me see if I can do this without knocking that over. All right. So a little background on Admiral Perrett's myriad of roles. He's the commander of Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Command, an Echelon 3 command where he serves as the operational commander of the Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Community, or METOC community. He's also the oceanographer of the Navy and serves as part of the CNO's OPNAV staff, an Echelon 1 role where he is the resource sponsor for the METOC community. He's also the navigator of the Navy, the hydrographer of the Navy, and the naval deputy to NOAA. So knowing his breadth and extent of positional responsibilities will provide some context on the functional focus areas that I'll discuss today. As Billy mentioned, I'm the commanding officer of the Fleet Weather Center here in San Diego, also known by the acronym of FWIC. We're one of 2 fleet weather centers in the United States, and our sister command is in Norfolk, Virginia. In an effort to heed Billy's sound advice and guidance, I'll do my best to minimize the alphabet soup of acronyms that typically rolls off the tongues of us military types. But when I fail, I'll do my best to explain them, and if there's any that I've missed, I'll refer you to Billy for all of the really hard questions. Billy also gave you a great summary of my background, and it's been my pleasure to serve in this community for almost 20 years now, across the globe in a myriad of positions and opportunities. So a little bit about my command. FWIC San Diego is an Echelon 4 subordinate command to Naval Meteorology and Oceanography. We're responsible for providing timely, comprehensive, and tactically relevant METOC capability to Navy Joint Allied and Coalition forces across the 3rd, 5th, and 7th Fleet AORs. Our sister command, FWIC Norfolk, provides the exact same capability to the 2nd, 4th, and 6th Fleet. Together, our FWICs provide this global capability using it through our 24/7, 365 watch floors, and our subordinate commands, which include 2 Strike Group Oceanography teams, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, the Naval Ice Center, and the Naval Oceanography ASW Center Yokosuka, as well as several subordinate detachments. During my presentation today, I'll provide an overview of Naval Meteorology and Oceanography, an overview of our operational strategy and organizational objectives, and I'll discuss a few examples of how naval oceanography is advancing our capabilities and supporting the CNO's NAV plan today and into the future. CINMOC's mission is to exploit the environment to close kill chains and maximize fleet safety, access, maneuver, and lethality. In exploiting the environment, we create the warfighting environment that is necessary today and into the future. So who are we? As a global enterprise headquarters at Stennis Space Center in Mississippi, we have 13 subordinate commands at more than 60 locations globally. Sailors and civilians across the enterprise are forward deployed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We have approximately 2,900 active duty and reservist military personnel and federal civilians and contractors. Across the enterprise, we are almost evenly split between uniformed service members and our civilian teammates. In fact, depending on the command, the ratio can be as high as 70% civilian to military. And we're relatively unique in that perspective. Our civilian teammates are highly specialized in their fields of study. You may ask, how specialized? Enterprise-wide, we have the highest concentration of PhDs in an operational command of any Navy community. That specialization drives our innovation in several different functional areas. We are leaders in unmanned undersea sensing and data collection with a deployable fleet of more than 200 unmanned vehicles that sense and collect oceanographic data. Our enterprise has the Navy's #1 operational high-performance computing system, which drives our modeling capability, enabling the Navy's operational meteorology program to provide the fleet with a singular, authoritative data source of physical battlespace awareness to ensure warfighting readiness across the complete range of military operations in multiple warfare domains. What we do to deliver warfighting advantage is critical because the most potent forces we and our adversaries face is the physical environment. Throughout history, our Navy's ability to predict physical environmental constraints and operate within them has been the difference between victory and defeat. We have honed the capabilities and expertise of sensing, analyzing, predicting, and forecasting METOC effects on DoD, Navy, and adversary platforms, sensors, and weapon systems over the last century. In fact, in 2024, we celebrated the 100th birthday of our enlisted rate, the orographer's mate. What sets naval oceanography apart is that data is our weapon. Our data enables how the fleet shoots, denies, maneuvers, defends, and sustains. The way our enterprise provides operational value in today's data-rich, information-focused warfare environment can be broadly described as this. Our production centers, the Naval Oceanographic Office, Fleet Numerical Meteorology and Oceanography Center, and the Naval Observatory are our primary operational data and prediction platforms, collecting and analyzing data at volumes that exceed 100 terabytes per day. Our fleet operations forecasting centers that consist of the Naval Oceanography Operations Command and the Fleet Weather Centers in Norfolk and San Diego and their subordinate commands, globally distributed, transform the environmental data into METOC effects, impacting safety and warfighting effectiveness from strategic and operational planning to tactical execution. Our organizational motto, "From the bottom of the ocean to the stars, it starts with us," captures the essence of our end-to-end capability in sensing, analyzing, predicting, and forecasting METOC effects that inform decisions on every platform across the fleet and DoD. In 2023, Rear Admiral Perret released 2 strategies. The first, the Naval Oceanography Enterprise Data Strategy. This strategy outlines how the Naval Oceanography Enterprise will deliver data, data products, and data capabilities at speed and scale for battlespace awareness and safety for all operations. The NOE data strategy establishes the guiding principles, essential capabilities, and objectives for secure and seamless access to METOC and PNT PTA data. In doing this, naval oceanography is positioned as a leader within the DoD for a data-driven culture. The second strategy is the Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Strategy. This strategy builds on the Battle Space on Demand, or BOND, concept, which is a layered approach that generates an operational advantage by fully integrating characterization and prediction of the environment to optimize decision-making. Building on BOND capitalizes on our investment in people, capability, and innovation, and aggressively aligns with the CNO's NAV plan and warfighting priorities. Naval Meteorology and Oceanography Strategy focuses on 3 distinct objectives. The first of those is investing in our people. By investing in our people, we will create a resilient naval METOC force to persevere in warfighting by recruiting, retaining, and developing a force steeped in trust and respect. The way that we plan to meet this outcome is developing and honing METOC tradecraft through targeted training designed to prepare our force for conflict at sea. Executing a multifaceted campaign of recruiting and retaining resilient and capable METOC professionals, and fostering a culture of competency and character to sustain trust within and across the force. Second, by establishing our environmental data as a fleet asset, we will deliver authoritative data to the right place at the right time to enable decision superiority. In order to create a modernized and weaponized METOC data, we are prioritizing a modernized data architecture, normalizing data governance and standards, and promoting a culture in naval METOC that is data-focused. And finally, innovation. We want to lead the Navy in applied use of advanced and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning by testing to the point of failure and communicating lessons learned early and broadly. To do this, we're fostering a culture of innovation. We're enhancing our collaboration with international partners, DoD, industry, and academia. We accept failure under manageable risk and aggressively support data innovations. Ultimately, what this means is that we are dedicated to being an organization that learns and moves faster than the adversary. The Naval Oceanography Enterprise executes our global mission using expertise spanning many fields. Our astrophysicists, acousticians, hydrographers, geologists, information technology professionals, meteorologists, and oceanographers leverage a broad range of observations and technology systems to build databases and inform initial conditions that are used to predict the environment days to weeks in advance. Our forecasters then consume this information, combined with their knowledge of the tactical mission, to provide actionable information to our warfighters. Our collective focus is on advancing our capabilities in sensing, analyzing, predicting, and forecasting to enable access, maneuver, and the delivery of lethality by the fleet. In the next few slides, I'll share a few of the projects we've worked on across the enterprise to do just that. The Advanced Naval Training Exercise, or ANTEX, is a showcase of the work we do across the Naval Oceanography Enterprise with our partners in government, industry, and academia. For ANTEX 2025, the Gulf Ranges Integration Experiment, conducted by the Naval X Gulf Coast Tech Bridge, in collaboration with our partner commands, NAVO, Naval Surface Warfare Center, Panama City, NRL Stennis Space Center, and CINMOC, demonstrated the integration of multiple unmanned systems and emerging technology to support subsea and seabed warfare missions in surface and undersea warfare domains. The primary objective was to collect and analyze physical environmental data and to test data fusion of bathymetry, hydrography, and imagery for battlespace collection and utilizing oceanographic scientific intellectual capital for the intelligence preparation of the operational environment, or IPOE. We look forward to showcasing these results at the Advanced Naval Technology Exercise Antex 25, April 15th to the 17th, 2025, in Biloxi Coast Coliseum as part of the Oceans in Actions Conference. The 4D Environmental Cube for Unmanned Systems, Digital Twins, is an innovative project led by the Naval Oceanographic Office, harnessing the exponential power of artificial intelligence and machine learning. The overall objective is to quantify expected outcomes based on the interaction of platform, system, or sensor with historical and predicted physical environment from the subsea bed to celestial space. The short-term objective focuses on demonstrating the effectiveness of this framework in the maritime domain, specifically for uncrewed systems, by leveraging increased fidelity in ocean sensing, advanced modeling tools, and predictive analytics. The long-term vision aims to establish a realistic, modeled environment for conducting digital twin analyses across various warfighting areas, which will enable artificial intelligence to inform human experts of the need for more focused analysis anywhere in the world across the spectrum of warfare. In October of 2024, the Fleet Numerical Meteorology and Oceanography Command, or FNMOC, introduced the High Performance Computing as a Service business model to increase efficiency and provide long-term cost savings. The HPC as a service model allows FNMOC to leverage advanced high-performance computing resources as a scalable, on-demand resource rather than owning and operating the hardware directly. The partnership with HPE and M2 enhances FNMOC's capabilities to run critical weather models across multiple clusters and security enclaves, enabling warfighter support across the globe. This one might be my favorite, but I might be a little biased as well. In 2023, we entered into a collaborative research and development agreement, or CRADA, with SOFAR Oceans to leverage commercial capability to collect data in data-sparse regions like the Antarctic and North Pole. In 2024, we grew those relationships with technology transfers, capability exchanges, and joint training. This year, the Fleet Weather Centers are piloting SOFAR's Wayfinder platform and data from its global network of ocean sensors to advance the Navy's capability to ensure safe and efficient ship routing for the U.S. fleet. SOFAR Ocean Buoy data provides additional in-situ data to improve model initialization and forecasts. Additionally, the FWICs are utilizing Wayfinder to identify safe and efficient route options powered by real-time ocean weather data for military sealift commands, their ships. Wayfinder reduces manual tasks for forecasters and routers by automatically generating a forecast along a vessel's route. The availability of accurate real-time wave and weather observations helps my watchstanders validate forecast models and examine multiple route options more efficiently, streamlining a historically complex and arduous process. So this slide has been deliberately left separate and to the end. Our partnerships are a critical part of our progress toward the objectives and priorities I mentioned earlier. Our team creates partnerships and engages across a variety of institutions to ensure potential candidates, whether uniformed or civilian, are aware of our organization's value proposition. We've leveraged these relationships in one of the areas across the enterprise where it is most needed, the battle for talent and the people who will potentially be the future leaders of the Naval Oceanography enterprise. For the Advanced Naval Training Exercise, ANTEX, the enterprise plans to host local STEM-focused high school students to introduce them to the Navy and increase awareness about STEM careers on the Gulf Coast. At ANTEX 2023, we hosted approximately 150 local STEM high school students to interact with our service members, civilians, and partners. This engagement was a function of a carefully fostered relationship with the University of Southern Mississippi's STEM Education Gen C program. Through our local outreach efforts and partnerships, the SINMOC organization in Mississippi is in alignment and close coordination with the Blue Economy Initiative that seeks to keep STEM talent on the Gulf Coast. In 2024, we finalized educational partnership agreements with the University of Mississippi, Mississippi State, and the University of South Alabama. These critical partnerships give us the opportunity to provide counsel and advice on the curriculum development to ensure college students are receiving the right type of education for successful careers. Finally, I'll leave you with these parting thoughts. We will not enter the next conflict alone. Success hinges on our ability to recruit, develop, and retain professionals who combine with strong interagency and international partners to deliver warfighting advantage over peer adversaries. Investing in these partnerships through information and personnel exchanges guarantees the ability to fight as one team when and where required. To wield the most relevant and capable technology demands that we continue to strengthen partnerships with industry and academia. Sensing, analyzing, predicting, and forecasting METOC effects to deliver decision information to the fleet also requires meaningful relationships within the DoD and interagency partners. Fully integrated battlespace awareness is a strategic capability underpinned by naval METOC that will support the high-end joint and combined fight today and in the future. Thank you, and I'll take any of your questions.
Morning, Captain. Thank you for your presentation. I'm Greg Jose with Tridentis Advanced Marine Vehicles. We have a solar craft that collects scientific data and persists out for long durations. Very interested in Antex. Can you explain a little more of what it takes for a small company like ours to get involved with participating in Antex?
No, absolutely. One of the things I'm going to ask you to do is leave your contact information with our PAO. Our SynMOC team, he's in the back. Our SynMOC team is often looking for opportunities to engage with industry. I mentioned the CRADA with SOFAR, that's one of them. He's going to put you in touch with the right folks on the SynMOC staff to have those conversations. Thank you.
Captain, great presentation. Clifton Phillips, a little company called Aegis Space Group. I liked your partnership slide. Have you considered maybe reorganizing that slide so along the lines of making sure your data pipe stays full? I'm sure there's providers upstream from you, like some of the space capability providers, and the data winds up in your shop as the Department of Defense transitions to service-based subscriptions to make sure that it doesn't impact you.
I'll certainly take that feedback. As we continue to implement and execute our data strategy that was introduced in 2023, we continue down many paths to look at how we disseminate and receive data, how we process that. So I'll certainly take that feedback. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Captain. Gidja Fuentes, writing for USNI News. It was interesting you mentioned about the Wayfinder.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the recent work that's been going on, let's say in the last year, and kind of developing that? Because I think there's been some testing or experimentation and all in the last year, kind of off the coast here. Any more details on that and kind of where it's headed and what kind of feedback you're getting from the fleet?
Yeah, so we get, with SOFAR at the Fleet Weather Centers, we have access to their buoy data, which helps us to initialize the models. So really great partnership there, and it's not just at the FWICS, the Naval Ice Centers using that data, we're really using it across the fleet. When it comes to the Wayfinder app, what you can see on the slide here, kind of in the background there, that's what the Wayfinder app looks like. It allows us to input a ship's track, and then merge that track with environmental data that helps us then optimize a ship's track based on the environment, taking into consideration what that ship's mission might be and other considerations about how that ship might ride. Certainly if you have a ship that has a lot of gear on it and is weighed down, they ride a little bit better in higher seas than something that might be very light loaded. We're working with our MSC ships right now because this capability is only available at the unclassified level, and where we can really best test that is with our MSC ships. So the ship routing officers at my command are using this tool as they help coordinate, just as they do every day, getting ships across the Pacific. and making sure they get there safely around the weather. They're able to execute their mission even if we've got to divert them around some sort of weather occurrence. So this is just one of the tools that they have at their disposal, but it's an exciting one here for our watch floor.
And is it the case that, in terms of predicting that conditions in the predicted route, things change, weathers change, conditions change, is it sort of set up where it kind of collects a lot of that current data and makes those predictions ahead as maybe routes are altered?
So certainly, the Wayfinder app does take in that SOFAR buoy data. It's all tied together as a SOFAR Oceans product. So certainly, it's ingesting that data to help update their models and their information. As ships transit the Pacific, it's a large body of water, and as you can imagine, as the models update in their various cycles, if we have to, we certainly will reroute ships as needed. But my routers are looking out 3, 5, 7 days easily to try to ensure that we minimize the disruption to that route, because really what we're looking for is an optimization of how do we get the ship, the platform, where they need to go so they can do their mission. If they come off station, can we minimize that amount of time that they're off station and put them somewhere where they can still conduct mission?
And another question, can you talk about if it is the case, any work and interactions that you're doing with the Marine Corps? Particularly with a lot of the new systems innovation and force design, priorities that the Commandant has had, and as the forces are preparing for, these future scenarios to include, potential more maritime operations in littorals, island campaigns, and that sort of thing. Weather, obviously, is always the first thing briefed at a confirmation brief, and something that everyone really pays in mind, even, the Marines on the ground. So can you talk a little bit about any work, any new things that are coming up in this last year to sort of help them along with their information gathering?
I can talk a little bit about that. So I mentioned our strike group oceanography teams. So those commands have our sailors that deploy forward. They go out on our big deck amphibs, and they deploy in the carriers, and they support those staffs and those units. Our sailors that are out on those large deck amphibs are integrating with their METOC Marine counterparts to ensure a one team, one forecast effort. What we don't want is the Marines saying, hey, we're good to go, boss, and the Navy going, no, we're not. So they're absolutely working together to accomplish that mission, underway on board that ship, sharing the same information, building that unified forecast on board. So that's one of the ways that we're doing that. The ARG Muses, they're going out and exercising. That's a team that comes together to do that. So our METOC Marines and our Navy AGs, it's already a great teamwork there. The tools and systems that we have are largely the same. Our forecasting toolkit, Knights Next, is used by both the Navy and the Marine Corps. And there are both afloat, ashore, and expeditionary capabilities within that, so that we're using the same data and the same systems. When it comes to ashore things, we're very fortunate here in San Diego. Miramar has a team of Marines up there that are doing great things when it comes to supporting their installations. We work closely with our Marine counterparts there to understand their mission, for them to understand our mission, and looking at opportunities where it makes sense that we work together, both afloat, like I've already talked about, as well as ashore.
J.C. Chernicki, Point Mugu, California. Just a quick question. Speaking of, information and security, a lot of vessels, AIS spoofing is a big issue in a lot of areas on the globe. When is your team planning to start to integrate AIS 2.0 or VDES? Any near-term plans or further out?
When you say integrate the AIS 2.0, integrate into what?
Well, into your navigation systems and just utilize it. It's basically the higher level it's AIS at a higher level of security.
I'm going to take that as a question to follow up, and I'm going to refer you back here to Billy. I think that's more of an oceanographer of the Navy, navigator of the Navy question, and I don't have a good answer for you, so we'll definitely get you one. All right, I think we've had our awkward 10 seconds of silence at the end of questions here, so I'll offer it up one more time if there's any questions. Well, Well, I thank you all for coming and supporting naval oceanography, and I look forward to seeing you as we engage as a fleet and a force moving forward. Thank you for your time today.